Hey there and welcome, it's me, Lokazi, casting for you Slai, the blue Zerg, spawning in the 12 o'clock position here on Shattered Temple, and Apotheosis? There we go. ApotheosisX. We're going to go with that. I'm going to call him Apo, because that's much easier to pronounce. As the red Terran here on the Shattered Temple, at the 3 o'clock position, which means it's close by air, so Slai is going to be able to scout with his Overlord and see that air position very quickly. In the meantime, just to be safe, he's sending a drone across. On Shattered Temple, you really need to drone scout to the close by ground position, or the close position, as people call it, because you need to know whether or not you're safe to drop, say, like a drone to 15 and drop a 15 hatch, or whether or not you need to drone to drop a pool first, all that type of stuff. And very key here, Slai only moves close enough to determine that Apo is actually spawning in this position and then moves back. And Apo didn't send out an SCV over to the side. You'll see a lot of higher level players send out one SCV over to the side, or probe, or drone. Well, drone not so much, because your Overlord's going to get there too, so you're going to see that they're close by air. But either probe or SCV over at the 10 or 110 mark, 120 mark, around there, to see if a Overlord did make it over. And it looks like Slai just picked off a worker. Yeah, he did. He picked off an SCV that was building that building, delaying the barracks very slightly, not very much. Oh, and he does. He makes it over to the extractor. So he's going to extractor trick that for a while, get as much scouting information in as possible. And it looks like he 14 hatched and should be dropping a pool here soon. He sees that wall in, so he knows that the Terran player is probably going for some type of tech. He saw the other refinery did go down, and he's moving around there now, so he sees that there are SCVs on it. As he goes back this way, he sees that there are 3 SCVs mining gas from it. So he knows he's safe to, not freak out and get ready to spawn a bunch of Zerglings right when the spawning pool finishes. So he's going to keep droning up. Just mass up that econ. He knows it's walled off. He's going to assume some type of a tech build. And is he going to let this extractor finish? It's getting worked on by this Marine over here. We'll have to see. In the meantime, the orbital command is almost finished. Oh, yep. Cancel, rebuild. Getting as much scouting information out of that drone as possible. And Slai did have his Overlord patrolling around over here. It's something really important that you need to do as a Zerg player. You need to patrol around and make sure that no bunkers are getting dropped in a weird position. Because even if a bunker is being dropped over here, say a barracks was built right here, you just kind of lift it off, land it right there, and just start producing out of it, out of a proxy Rax, and can deal a lot of damage on this. So Slai has droned up to 19. He's popping out both of his queens right now. And he's getting as much scouting information as he can. He did see the reactor, he saw the second barracks, he sees the factory going down, and he does lose that drone. Looks like, ooh, and a cancel out of that Vespane geyser there by Apo. So that's kind of, tricky by him. And the factory was cancelled. Very, very, very tricky. So now Slai thinks that there's some type of, maybe a Marine tank push. When you see a reactor on a barracks and a factory, you're thinking, oh, Marine tank, Marine Hellion, some type of slight tech push coming out. But no, it was cancelled, and it looks like it's just going to be a lot of Marines. A second reactor going down, not opting to throw, a tech lab down for stim or anything like that. It's very interesting. Slai, in the meantime, let's see what he's producing. He has nothing really producing, just more droning, spine crawler going up to try and be safe. 2 spine crawlers, actually. So that's actually going to help a lot. Surprised you. Oh, Hellions. He assumed Hellions when he saw that. So good idea to throw down the 2 spine crawlers. He's going to walk up this ramp. He's going to get shot by a Marine and not really see anything. Denied that scouting information. And I'm surprised he hasn't thrown an Overlord in here yet to try and gauge how much is over there. Good creep spread starting. Looks like he just sacrificed the second inject out of both these queens. 4 creep tumors. He's going to connect these 2 bases and creep out in the front, which is really good, especially if he needs to pick up Banelings. A 3rd spine crawler being built. This allows him to drop it right here, and he can move up his queen and kind of get a little bit of a block on the Hellions as they come in. There still are pretty big gaps to get in if they need to, but it does slow them down, and slowing them down near spine crawlers is a lot of damage. And he only has 3 Zerglings out on the field right now. And there's that Sac Overlord. It's flying in here, and it's saying, hey, that's That's 3 more barracks with tech labs. Only one of them has a tech lab. The other 2 have reactors, which means 3 reactor barracks with a tech lab. Rax. That's a lot of units. So let's see how Slai responds to this. Looks like he's building some more Zerglings. Getting Zergling speed, getting a Baneling nest. +1 going down for Apo over there. And with these 3 crawlers and 2 queens, he's actually pretty safe to Marines. Marines dying like 2 hits to a spine crawler. A little bit more. Ooh, and the all-in. All of Apo's SCVs coming. So this is a great way to see how to hold this all-in push out of Terrans. 1 SCV getting picked off. 2, 3 dying. Now let's see the micro here out of Slai. He's bringing all of his drones to try and defend these spine crawlers as much as possible. He's up to 3 queens. And look at this battle. So many units. 33 drones and 7 Zerglings versus all these Marines. Spine crawlers just doing work on all of these Marines. 3 queens just beating away on him as the drones tank. Down to 12 drones, 11 drones. He pulls them back. These last 5 Marines aren't going to deal that much damage, hopefully. That's what he's saying. And there are quite a few Zerglings here to deal with them. They should be able to surround and kill. All Apo can do with those 5 is deny mining at this base. Looks like he's going to try and pick off the Baneling nest. Spine Crawler is moving just slightly to defend against the next Marine push in. Slai knows there's got to be some more coming. And it looks like only 5 SCVs were left mining. There's a mule though there with them. Good transfuse going down on Spine Crawler. Keep it alive from those 5 Marines. Now these Marines are positioned perfectly to try and stay alive as long as possible. And they're really, they're surviving forever compared to how many Zerglings were there to take them out. So Slai is now sitting at 11 drones with 17 Zerglings. 2 queens still. He only lost 1 queen, so he's still got all of his larva injects. So all he has to do is just keep pumping out drones to stay alive and get back in this game. It looks like these Zerglings are going to try and get around on these Marines. Will they get this around? They do get this around. Perfect surround there by Slai, which is what he really needed to pick off all those Marines. He's going to have to back up from this wall, but he did get a lot of Marines for nothing, which is what he really wanted. I think he lost 4 Zerglings and took out 6 Marines. And I think 2 of those Zerglings he actually lost on the wall, so he really could have gotten away a little bit better there. But all in all, very, very good. His creep is starting to spread out toward the middle of the map, so keeping up with that. Up to 19 drones, rebuilding his Baneling nest, and really in a really solid position holding off that all-in. And it was that Sacrifice Overlord that tipped him to the information that he needed. He threw it in there. He saw these 3 barracks. He already knew there was one at the front with a tech lab, and it's not like you're going to move off the one on the front. He may have thought that the factory had moved over there, because remember we saw a factory being built when the drone was over here. So he may have thought that that got moved to the front, but even then, that means a lot of units with Hellions or with just straight Marines that he had to fend off, and he reacted appropriately. He lost a lot of drones, but one of the great things about Zerg is, look, he's back up to 28 drones. He just did like 5 drone pumps and built all of, well, 2 drone pumps probably, and built all of 5 more Zergling eggs, and he's up. Has a bunch of Banelings to bust this wall if he wants. Overlord just got taken out by Marines in the back. And there's a good amount of Marines here, so if they're split really well, they could actually hold off all these Banelings. We'll have to see what happens and how much damage is able to be done with these Banelings. Slai splitting these into 2 control groups is a really important thing to do as Zerg. You need to put your Banelings on one control group, your Zerglings on another control group, and then when you get mutas, they go right there in that 3rd spot. Hatcheries is 4, Queens is 5. It's pretty much my exact setup. Very interesting, actually. I didn't realize we used the exact same hotkeys, but it makes sense. A starport going down on the tech lab, so Banshee harassment may be coming in here. A Reaper going out. That's interesting. Don't see that too often, especially this late into the game. So a Reaper is out on the field. And another Reaper is building. Did he pick up the speed for them? I don't think he did. And a big engagement going down at the front. He moved down the ramp and Slai got a good surround on all those Marines. They really should have stayed up behind their wall. And I'm sure the Terran player is regretting that decision, as lots of Banelings and Zerglings in front of your base is not a good time. And the really important thing here is Slai is denying any type of expo. There could be a hidden one somewhere he hasn't scouted, but in all likelihood he knows mineral-wise he's pumping out a ton of Marines. Now these Banelings are going to blow up this one supply depot. If they get, there they go. They get the supply depot and the reactor, letting them get in and hopefully take out that SCV that's building the bunker. GG called by Apo, and Slai defends a Marine SCV all-in off of 4 barracks, 3 of them with reactors, with just Zerglings, 3 Queens, 3 Spine Crawlers, and about 30 drones, I think. There was quite a few drones there to sacrifice to the slaughter, but that's really showing the power of right when you see it, right when you scout it with that Overlord, bam, the reaction was immediate, pulled his drones down when they were coming up, got a 3rd Queen ready, transfuse, Zergling surrounds. It was a perfect job by Slai there, and a great game, and thanks to him for sending it over.